I saw that. Show me if you have something to say. Yeah, just like Isaiah did. Oh, he did it down here, and I couldn't tell for sure. So way up high if you have something to say. Show me if you have a question. Show me if you're just listening. Yeah, you don't even have to do anything but listen. And we're going to look at some artwork today and talk about what we see. And the most important thing for you to do during this time is listen to other people's thoughts. So I want you to work on what you're going to say, showing me that you have something to say, and listening to what other people have to say. So is this touchable?
I wish. No, here, I'll fix it.
Okay, so if we could go to this first image.
Sure.
That would be great. And can I turn off some of the lights?
Yes.
All of my lights.
All of
All of them.
You always love all of them.
I think that one will work really well.
Okay.
So, Mrs. Zenner, we're going to try and do about, and Mrs. Walker, we're going to try and do about 10 to 12 minutes on 2 images. Can you believe that? And then I've got some work that we're going to do
Can you do it for
together.
me?
And so my
I wanna
goal
make
is
it
to be
the
done by
slide.
11:03.
Just from the beginning.
Our goal is to make these half-hour art lessons.
Okay.
And so my goal is 11:03. The first 10 to 15 minutes is BTS. Then we'll talk about an art element, and then we'll do a little bit of drawing, just a little bit
Ooh,
of drawing.
okay.
And it will really kind of depend on how well we do in the discussion. I want to
This
do
is the first one.
first.
Which,
Can we just go to slideshow?
that's what I actually
Okay.
did, and it's from the beginning, but then it did something. Let's just do from current slide.
There we go.
There we go.
But see, it does.
Let's move it around, move it up and down like it's nervous.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to, and this is where, if you could be recording this is very helpful. I'd like you to take a quiet moment to look at this picture. You're not going to share your thoughts out loud. You're going to think all your thoughts in your head. This is a first grade classroom, and it is March, so you're you're almost second graders. You're getting close to being second graders. I want you to look at the picture from top to bottom, from side to side. Look at what's going on in that picture. In fact, ask yourself, in your brain, what's going on in this picture? Going on? Who has an idea? And I hope everybody's ready to listen to the idea. What's going on? Let's see, Crosby?
Yeah.
Crosby, what's going on?
It kind of looks like that guy's like holding a rope for the horse and he's like riding it. It looks like the white horse is following the brown horse. It looks like and it looks like the people who are off the horse are kind of following them.
Okay, Crosby's been looking from left to right. And he started on this side of the picture and he's seeing lots of things that are going on. Crosby tells us that there's a man here holding on to a rope. Is this what you were looking at, Crosby?
Yeah.
And then he also drew our attention to somebody riding on a horse. And then he drew our attention to a white horse. And then he said there are some people walking along or following along. And so he took us from left to right and looked at the picture in that way. What more can we find? Tell me your name, sweetie. Elsa.
It looks like they are cowboys and they are they're practicing riding their horses before they can ride them out the ropes.
Okay, so Elsa is looking at the horses in particular, but she's also talking about cowboys. And so tell me, what do you see that makes you say the word cowboy?
Because they have those boots and some of them have hats with those scarves that cowboys wear.
That last part I didn't hear it. With the what that cowboys have?
The scarves.
scarf?
My name.
This is Elsa's turn. I want to listen to Elsa, okay? Is this the scarf that you're talking about, Elsa? What color is that scarf?
White.
And do you see another one back here?
And there's red.
And there's a red one back here. Oh, Elsa is describing what she thinks a cowboy wears. And she talked about boots. And I'm looking for the boots. And she talked about hats. And I can find hats. I even found one down here, Elsa. Did you see that one? And Elsa also is pointing out scarves. And we looked at white scarves and a red scarf. And there's one back here. So Elsa is looking at what a cowboy wears and the artist showing us the cowboys and their clothing. Great. What more can we find? Tell me your name, bud.
Aiden.
Aiden? What's going on in this picture?
Well, it kind of looks like they're trying to like tame like the horses or something.
It looks like they're taming the horses or something, Aiden says. Tell me what you're looking at that makes you say they're taming the horses.
Well, I really think they're trying to just tame the brown one because the brown one's kind of just looking like it's doing something crazy or something.
Is this the one you're talking about here? And Aiden calls this a brown one, a horse. And you said, tell me again what you think it's doing?
Well, it's kind of acting like it's just doing something crazy.
It looks like it's being crazy. Okay. What is it that you see this horse doing that makes you say the word crazy?
Well, like that man right there, I don't like he's pulling on it to like trying to make it stop jumping. He got on it and it looks like he's kind of struggling to get on it.
So Aiden is talking about what this man is doing. And I heard you say the word jumping. So the horse you think is jumping. And then you told us that this man is struggling. What is he doing that makes you say struggling?
It kind of looks like he's because like the horse is jumping and all, but like it's jumping, he kind of just can't get on.
Okay, so Aiden is really focused on this part of the picture and the movement that's going on. Aiden talks about the horse jumping, and he talks about the man struggling, and there's lots of action going on right here in the middle of the picture. We're going to take one more comment, and then we're going to look at another picture, okay? Tell me, I can read your name. It's Peyton. Peyton, tell me what's going on. So you're looking over on the right. Peyton has taken our eyes from this part of the picture all the way over to this part of the picture. And you are telling us that there's a man. Did you say that it's feeding the horse? What do you see that makes you say that he's feeding the horse? And have you had the opportunity to feed a horse before? Have you ever watched people feed horses?
Yes.
Usually you hold your hand down below the mouth, and Peyton is thinking that it must be that this cowboy is feeding the horse. Can you see the rest of the horse?
No.
The artist just left that off the page, didn't they?
Or down that room.
Great job. Thank you for this discussion. You did a great job of looking at this picture and thinking about it. I also like the way you listened to each other. You were doing a good job of listening to each other. We're going to look at another picture, and there will be some things that remind you of this picture. It looks the same. And then there will be some things that are different from that first picture. First, I'd like you to look at it. We're going to take quiet time to look at this picture from top to bottom and side to side. You already have some thoughts. I would like you to keep your thoughts in your brain and look at the picture for about 30 more seconds. What's going on in this picture? Look at all these hands. I love it. You've been waiting so patiently. I gotta read your name, bud. Aiden? Oh, what's your name?
Aiden, but his name is A-I-D with two E's.
So you spell it differently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Aiden.
So you could say in no.
I could say Aidenel. Okay, Aidenel,
And Aiden-
what's going on? Let's listen to Aidenel's comment.
So the men and women are on the horse and they're in a circus.
They're in a circus. Aiden has pointed out the man and the woman on the horse and tells us they're in a circus. Tell me why you say circus. What do you see that makes you say circus? Tell me about this.
So
Tell us about this.
almost every circus has a magician.
And so this person right here, you're calling a magician, and you tell us that almost every circus has a magician. And so this is a very important part of the picture that tells you that these people and the horse are in a circus. Okay?
Also because of the crowd.
And is this the crowd that you're seeing in the background?
Yeah.
All of these circles, Aiden is calling all of this a crowd at the circus. And you probably have more thoughts. I'm going to ask you to sit in your chair so we can hear some other people's thoughts. Way over there, and I can't read your name tag, so tell me your name.
Ava.
I want to hear Ava say it. Ava, what more can we find?
That they're doing moves on the horse and it's kind of decorations that in the circus.
So Ava is also looking at the horse, just like Aiden was looking at the horse. And she is telling us that these people are doing some movement or some acts on the horse. Is that the word you use? Acts? And they're on top of a horse. And she also told us that the horse is moving around. What do you see, Ava, that tells you that this horse is moving?
Its legs are moving.
Pull your hand down so I can hear you better.
Its legs are moving.
Its legs are moving. So Ava is looking at the legs of the horse going this direction and this direction. And she thinks that the horse looks like it's moving because of the way the legs are. Great. What more can we find? Let's go to someone who has not shared yet. Matthew. Are you Matt or Matthew? Matthew, what more can we find? Matthew is telling us also, I think he agrees with Ava, that they're doing tricks. I think we use the word acts or movements, and he's now calling them tricks. And that looks pretty tricky, doesn't it? So they're called tricks. What more can we find? Have you shared yet? Okay, tell me your name, bud. Levi. What more can we find?
Kind of like the nutcracker.
It's kind of like the nutcracker. Oh, tell me more. Why do you say nutcracker? What do you see that makes you say nutcracker?
Because the girl kind of like looks like a ballet girl. And then the guy is like holding her for like leap off the horse or something.
Okay, so Levi looks at what these people are wearing, and it reminds Levi of the nutcracker. I'm guessing you've seen the nutcracker somewhere, and the dress that she's wearing and the way that he's holding her reminds you of the ballet and the movement that takes place at the nutcracker. I want you to put your hands straight up, one hand, way up in the air. Everybody, bend it at the elbow. Give yourself a pat on the back. That was really well done. You did a great job of listening to other people. And that would be the end of the visual thinking strategies piece. 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, so much faster than when we were in Mrs. Walker's classroom. And my guess is that you have so many more things you could say about this picture or these two pictures. And Mrs. Zenner has them on her computer now, so she could put them up and you could look at them during lunchtime or during a quiet time if you want to. But I'd like to talk about the artists. The artists that painted these two pictures. They're very old pictures. And artists use lines when they're drawing or when they're painting, and they can use lines to show that something is moving, or they can show movement. So I was really happy to hear Ava talk about the legs to this horse, because the way the legs are drawn, it makes it feel like this horse is moving. Look at it carefully. Look at it really carefully. Stare at it. Is it really moving?
No.
It's not a video, is it? No, but the artist made it look as if it's in the middle of doing some kind of movement. How would you describe the movement? To your partner, describe the movement that you think this horse is making. Put your heads together. Describe the word. Use some words to describe the movement.
Going backwards.
Levi, share in your group, would you?
Because of the hair. This is also because of the hair. And because the like
This much time. It's getting smaller. Smaller.
it's just a girl.
All right. Be finished. Great thinking. I heard you thinking out loud. I like that. Ms. Walker, will you change this photo to the previous picture? I'd like you to look at the way this horse appears to be moving. And when we go to the next picture, I'd like you to look at the horse in the center. Who was it that had us looking at the horse so carefully? Was it you, Aiden?
Yeah.
I think so. And let's look at this horse. And now I want you to think about how the artist shows movement. What did the artist draw or paint to make this horse feel like it's moving? And even the rider, because you said something about the rider struggling on this horse and that he was crazy. Remember the horse was acting crazy? What are the lines or what do you see that makes this horse? Well, first of all, tell me, how is this horse moving? Raise your hand and you can tell me, how is this horse moving? Have you shared yet? All right, Julian. In the air. So crazy is what Aiden said. Julian says it looks like it's going to go in the air. Do you see how these feet are up in the air? And these feet are down kind of on the ground, kind of off the ground. So what direction do you think this horse is moving? Have you shared yet? And I don't know your name and you don't have a name tag.
Caleb.
Caleb, what direction do you think this horse is moving? How is he moving?
With his feet.
With his feet. I did not ask that question very well. Yeah, he's using his feet to move. In the last picture, we said that the horse was running in circles or running kind of sideways. Do you see how I'm using my hands and it was kind of like a smooth run? This horse is moving because his feet are jumping him into the air. And I got an idea. Push in your chairs. Stand behind your chair. I think you can handle this. It's in the lesson plan, but I didn't know you could handle it. Show me with your body how this horse is moving. Go. I see some people holding still because it's a picture. I see some people moving like they're jumping up like the horse would. Jump up like a horse would. Pretend that you've got someone on your back too. Yeah, don't hit your head. Great job.
You should take some medals.
Okay, stop.
Yes, it is.
Show me in the row. I'm going to count to 10. By the time I get to 10, I want you to come back to your chair. Think about the other horse in the circus. Show me how that horse was moving. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I saw the differences. I saw smooth running like in the circus, and I saw bucking, like a bucking bronco, like this horse jumping up and down in a rodeo with the cowboys. And now we're going to talk about how artists can show movement. And I'm going to write on Ms. Zenner's whiteboard. This time I'm going to turn the lights on.
It was so nice.
You're a first grader, so I know you can read this word. Read it in your head, not out loud. That's not a very new marker. That one will work. That's what we're going to talk about. Artists use line to show movement.
Or we can say.
Here's a line, and I can put that at the end, and it makes me feel like it's moving. Here's a line. Is it moving?
Yeah.
Oh, it's moving all over the place. Here's a line. Can you see which direction it's moving?
Yeah, down.
Well, what if I put an arrow on this end? Is it moving two different directions?
Yes.
So as an artist, I can draw things that make people feel like there's movement, even though it's not a video. It's just a drawing. So I have paper, and I have a pencil, and I have some directions. You can use your own pencil if you want, but I brought some pencils for you. Ms. Zenner, we can be done recording if you
Okay.
like. If you